Okay, hello and welcome back to another edition of Let's Talk Ghosts. And today we found something that's a little bit older on the internet, but I don't think the series, well, we'd have to check to see how long this channel's been going on. Anyway, what we found is a two-parter on investigating the Conjuring House. And of course we like the Conjuring House when the stories are true. So we found this young feller and his friend on this channel called Exploring with Josh. Now apparently Josh and his friend Seth used to do a lot of, I would call it urban exploring,
Yes.
where they're just looking at abandoned places, not ghost hunting or anything.
No.
And this one, they decided, for some reason, I didn't quite catch the whole thing at the beginning, but I guess they were talking about exploring stuff on social media, and they got a message from Corey, who used to be one of the owners of the Conjuring House, that said, hey, come in, investigate Conjuring House then. It'll be your first time. It'd be a good place to get your teeth wet, so to speak. And so they decide, hey, let's go and investigate the Conjuring House. Now, they've never ghost investigated before.
Yeah.
So, okay. Now, the beginning of this was the intro. I have to talk about the intro. It was very freaky deaky. All these funky little vignettes. And I got the feeling it was very Ghost Adventure-y. And then he made reference to Ghost Adventures later in. And I got it then, because he's obviously a Ghost Adventures fan. And so that was kind of his sort of, I guess, I wouldn't say copying, but simulating that kind of a beginning. But that, it wasn't bad. It was different. It was kind of cool, but very well done. So that was okay.
Yeah.
As they're so excited, you can hear the excitement in their voices as they're packing and getting ready to go. And he's got his bag of tricks, his bag of ghost hunting equipment, and he's showing all that they've got. And they've got a fair bit of stuff. So that's good, but he's very excited. Very excited. So they are brand new at this, and he says numerous times, we're learning as we go.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes that can be a good thing, and sometimes that can be a bad thing.
Yeah.
Depending on what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah.
Turned out for them, this one wasn't bad, because they basically had, I wouldn't call them mentors, but they had help.
Yeah.
Which was good. So the very first part was only a half an hour long, and it was very introductory.
Yeah.
The tour of the house, they get the history. That was good.
Yeah.
He came with asking questions. Now the owners at this time, so this was a few years ago, was Jen and Corey, that couple that had bought the house. And they came with questions, well, these two, Seth and Josh, came with questions of stuff that they'd heard on the internet. And we know repeatedly, ad nauseum, the stories that have gone around about, dead babies and people murdered there and all this stuff, Bathsheba and, all the stories. And to their credit, Jen and Corey set them straight about what was verifiable versus what was myth.
Yeah.
So I was really glad to see that.
Yeah.
Because there's so much misinformation out there. And it, Bathsheba, it's verified this woman was not a witch. She lived a couple of towns over and lived to a ripe old age. She did not kill herself and hang herself on, on the tree down by the river or anything. She didn't kill her kids. Her kids died of typhoid, they said here. And actually there was a couple of her kids that lived to ripe old ages themselves. Yeah. Their graves are in the cemetery. Yeah. And I'm still very sad that this poor woman's headstone had to be taken down. Yeah. Because it kept getting desecrated from all these people believing the stories that one of these Perrin girls put out. Yeah. Because she bought into all the stories and didn't do proper research herself. No. But she's telling the story as if it's her truth. Yeah.
Well, you tell the lie so many times you believe it.
Yeah, and she was a kid at the time, so whatever she heard, she believes is gospel. And to this day, I mean, she stands by those stories. And some of them are not true. Some of them are not true. Most of them are not true.
Most of it is a bunch of bunk.
Yeah. Now, that's not saying this house isn't haunted. It seems to me it is.
Yeah, it is, but it's not haunted.
But it's not demonic hauntings.
Yeah,
at least there's been no proof.
Demonic haunting.
So the first half hour was, we could go on for hours about that. And sometimes we do. A little segue into that. So the first half hour, the first part 1, was really all introduction, history, kind of the tour of the site. It was pretty good. I mean, he even had a little walk outside where he shows the size of the house, the size of the yard, like the space all around the house that had been cleared. Oh, my God, wouldn't that be just a haven from the city? Yeah. Just beautiful. I mean, if you get a chance to see the house where it sits amongst all the trees, it just feels so beautiful. Peaceful. Yeah. I mean, I would live there. Yeah, there'd be footsteps and whatever, but who cares, You just tell them to...
Footsteps in this house.
Yeah, no matter where we live, we seem to have friends come along. You just gotta set your ground rules and everything works well. At least that works for us. Anyway, we move on to part 2. Now, we weren't really planning to watch the second part, but now we're invested. We've seen the first part. We're kind of liking it. So we decided to watch the second part, which is another about 45 minutes or so. And so that's, investigating the Conjuring House part 2, Beyond the Dark. Anyway, the first thing that we noticed is they did a recap of what happened previously. So that was good. Yeah. I liked that. That was very good. I always like when because it was supposed to be like the following week they were going to put out that video. So a recap. That's nice. And then they start in with some stuff straight away. And we immediately said, actually, you immediately said, they're doing some good tagging.
Yeah.
Little things like the sounds of the wind hitting the plastic that was covering the windows.
Yeah.
Stuff like that so that you would know what you were hearing.
Yeah.
And that kept on through the whole thing. Anytime you heard something that wasn't explainable or something that was surprising, they tagged it. Yeah. So that was really good. For novice investigators, that was very good. Because even seasoned investigators don't always do that anymore, And it's something that's really important when you want to have a serious investigation. And Josh said that a few times. He wanted this to be serious. He didn't want it just to be another YouTube video.
Yeah. A fake ghost YouTube video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he commented a few times. I mean, when they got to the Ouija board stuff, they decided not to use Ouija boards because everybody on YouTube seems to be using Ouija boards, and he didn't believe they had any merit.
Yeah.
So he said it's too easy to fake them, and he's absolutely correct. It is too easy to fake a Ouija board because nobody can tell who's pushing that planchette around.
Yeah.
And besides, unless you're really skilled with investigating, I don't think Ouija boards are anything to play with. No. I really don't. Of course, that's me in my experience with Ouija boards. No. So again, they admitted it was their first time ghost hunting. Their very first time ghost hunting. And they go to the Conjuring House. Now, if that isn't freaking brave, I don't know what is. Like, holy crap. Yeah. Conjuring House. That's just amazing. Anyway.
Yeah.
Couple hours in now, they've had their tour and everything. They're sitting alone, kind of in the dark. Now, this house is like wired. There's cameras everywhere. And the owners have all the cameras on this great big huge monitor in a separate room. Now, we didn't know it at the time, but they're being monitored. The owners are there. Corey and Jen and their oldest son are there. So they haven't left the premises. They're there. The investigators, Seth and Josh, are sitting, trying to get something to happen. They're asking questions. They're doing their thing, trying to get their REM pod to go off. Nothing's happening. And they're getting discouraged. And they say it out loud, should we keep doing this? It just seems like nothing's happening. And Corey texts them not to get discouraged.
Yeah.
And he says something about, these ghosts have never seen you before. They need some time to get used to you.
Yeah.
I find that interesting. He knows his ghosts, but he's lived there with them. So
Well, everybody gives up their own energy.
Mm-hmm.
And, obviously Seth was a beacon.
Oh, yeah. We'll get to that one in a few minutes. But
that's what,
It was interesting how, some ghosts, well, again, as I've said before, they don't dance on command. They don't do whatever you want them to do on command. Sometimes you just got to wait. And that was one of the things that Josh does acknowledge later on in the video. He says that, it's a whole lot of patience.
Yeah.
Patience, sitting, waiting, listening.
Fishing.
Fish. Yeah, he calls it fishing. You gotta fish. Throw up the bait and see what happens. And that's true.
Yeah.
It's very true. So anyway, they're a little bit discouraged, asked, told not to. Then a little while later, they all get together for a spirit box session, and Corey and Jen's friend John has come over with the spirit box, and they start using it, and Josh and Seth's names come up.
Yeah.
Very clearly. So that kind of freaked them out a little bit. Yeah. And that was really kind of like the first things that really happened. They had heard some footsteps, but they weren't positive that's what they were hearing. Yeah. So this was the first thing that was pretty clear. So they really got into that.
Yeah.
And then you could see that they were starting to wonder if this is real.
Yeah.
But, all in all, as they're going on, and it's something that you even said as we were watching, for first-time investigators, they were doing pretty well.
Yeah.
They were doing okay, doing all the right things.
Yeah.
It is hard when you're going and sitting investigating for hours and nothing is happening.
Yeah.
Because ghosts do not dance on command.
Yeah.
And you sit there in the dark waiting for a sound, a voice, a creak. It's hard. It's really hard. And to their credit, they did very well. So finally, the group of them go down into the basement of the Conjuring House. Mm-hmm. What a creepy place. First of all, it's all blocks, like rock and stuff. And the sun shows them, this was all part of the tour, the sun shows them where the snakes come down there basically to rub against the rocks to lose their skin. When reptiles shed their skin so they can grow more. Well, yeah. Apparently the snakes don't stay down there. So apparently the snakes don't stay down there. They just rub their freaky bodies against the stones to release the skin, and off they go.
Yeah.
But there were skins everywhere. It was so creepy. Oh my God. Oh. I do not like snakes. Not at all. No. So to have snake skins hanging down from the rafters, I would lose my shit. Totally lose my shit. So that was kind of creepy. Anyway, they all go downstairs to have, I don't know what they're planning on, some sort of a session or something as a group. And so they're all standing around hoping something's going to happen. And Josh really wants his REM pod to go off because I think it's a new toy and he's really wanting it to go off, and it's not. But Seth is standing there with his hands in his hoodie pocket, one of those kangaroo pockets. And his elbows get pulled backwards.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Not really forcefully, but enough to knock him off balance a bit. And whatever is holds on to him for a good long time before it lets go. And when it finally lets go, you even see in the video how he kind of jerks forward a little bit as, the pressure has been released and he's now able to move forward. So that was kind of cool. The story is Mr. Perrin would get touched down in the basement all the time. And not touched scarily. It was almost like a caressing.
Yeah, caressing.
So whoever was down there just liked him. And I'm thinking that same person really liked Seth.
Yeah.
Because after they all went upstairs, they sweet-talked Seth into going back downstairs by himself. And he was really nervous, and he goes downstairs with his camera, and he said something about, if he gets touched again down there, he's going to go upstairs and kick Josh in the throat. And he said, the first sign of something touching me, I am out of here. And he was going to try to last for 5 minutes downstairs.
Yeah.
Well, as soon as he got those words out of his mouth, something touched him, and he goes, nope. And up he goes. That's it. Not even 2 minutes. And he said, no, something touched him again. So now Josh wants to experience it. He goes downstairs, nothing happens. Nothing happens to him at all. So that was funny. They come upstairs and decide to do the Estes method. Seth does it, and he is getting all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Questions and all these things. And again, I really think the spirits seem to like him. Now, whether they like him because there's something special there, or because he's a real skeptic, and maybe they sense that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes I think they do. They just know when somebody doesn't believe in them. You know?
Yeah.
That's kind of neat. So then Josh decides to try. He wants to experience it. And so things are kind of happening for him too. He's saying stuff. And then suddenly his REM pod starts going off like mad. And Corey leans up really fast, rips the headphones off of Josh so he can hear his REM pod going off. Because that's what he's been waiting for hours.
Yeah.
Just hours. His REM pod is going insane. And finally, he Corey gets up and he's checking it to see, and you can tell that he's an actual, a seasoned investigator or an experienced investigator. He's up there making sure there's nothing going wrong with that REM pod because it's just going on and on and on. Finally, he turns it off and then turns it back on, where it carries on again for another few seconds and then stops.
Yeah.
So something was there.
Yeah.
Something was there. It was very cool. It was actually an interesting episode.
Yeah.
Considering these guys didn't know what they were doing other than what they watched on television, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
They did okay. They did okay.
Like I said, they had help.
They did. And because Corey and his wife really didn't do much. She was mostly there as support.
Yeah.
Corey actually did a lot of the stuff. And their friend John.
And her son.
Yeah, the son was there. He didn't do a whole lot either.
Well, he took them downstairs.
Yeah,
and showed
but they
them
all
the
went.
well and
But they all, yeah, that's right, the well. That was part of the tour. Yeah, he did the tour. But it was really good to have these fellas, like Corey and Jen and what was their son's name?
Scott or no,
Kyle, something like that. Anyway, helping them out and showing them how to do stuff. And they acknowledged that at the end. They thanked them and said, they learned things from them.
Oh.
So I really liked that. I mean, it's nice that these people helped. Yeah. Now, they don't own the house anymore. I believe they've sold it.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. I don't know why they decided to sell it. Maybe they just got tired of all the Conjuring fans driving them crazy.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, so...
there's only so much, you peeking in your window you could take,
Yeah. And there were no trespassing signs all over that place.
Yeah.
And there was one part, they had part of the driveway chained off.
Yeah.
Like, holy cow. I guess the fans are just relentless. And that's why the previous owners had sold it too. They couldn't take it anymore. Then Jen and Corey bought it, and then they could only last for, I don't know, couple of years.
Yeah.
And then they sold it, and I don't know what's happened to it since.
Yeah.
Haven't really taken much look into it, but yeah, it was pretty good. I was really impressed. These I'm going to have to watch something newer now to see how their investigation techniques have gotten better. If they've carried on. I don't know if they've carried on.
Well,
we'll have to look and see.
It can be an addicting thing.
It most definitely is. If you're into it, it's addicting.
Because, you can say you like it, but if the bug bites you, it's got you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you just have to have a ghost walk through you one time.
Yeah.
Just one time to know how that feels. Oh, yeah, that's you. Yeah. We're having projectile vomiting. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
I never want to do that again.
Freaking bus ride.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you just have to, and if it's something you're interested in, you're open to, it's very addictive. Very addictive. And that's one of the reasons why we reach out so much to see these different programs and things, because we love it too. It's something that we enjoy very much. And especially when we get a chance to have someone recommend something to us, we love that. So by all means, if there's a station, a channel, a show, something that you would like us to review, we are happy to do it. Please drop us a message either here or on Twitter or, email us, anything like that. We're happy to take a look. So this was our episode for today. It was Exploring with Josh, and we will put the links there. Hopefully we'll find something more. Again, like I say, we'll take a look sometime down the road to see if there's anything newer from them and compare them and see how they've done.
Yes.
So that's what we've got for today. Thank you for joining us.
Happy hunting.
Happy hunting. Bye now.